You will ask me what's going to change if you will be hiring just 10 people. To me, it's not a cafe. To me, it's a message that every person in this country, regardless of their abilities, is a person, is a citizen of Azerbaijan and able and capable and shall be a part of the society. Main goals to make sure that one woman economic participation is secured at all the levels. So basically, we represent the private sector. While there are too many initiatives by the UN agencies like World Bank, UN itself, or International Trade Center, which are trying to help women to become the part of supply chains. And companies like Walmart, Coca-Cola, and others are also doing great things to make sure that women-owned businesses.
Here to inspire the world podcasting channel, and today we are having Natavan. So welcome Natavan.
Assalamu alaikum, good to be here.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So you are coming all the way from?
Azerbaijan, Baku.
Okay. 3 hours, huh?
Yeah, 3 hours flight. Not bad. Manageable.
Okay. So let's just start by this way. Since you are inclusion ambassador, let us talk more about it.
Well, I truly believe that inclusion is my DNA. Even when I was younger and I didn't know what is inclusion, I always was for inclusion. And my journey with inclusion started many, many years ago and at school. I always was very supportive for girls, for disadvantaged ones. Then with my career, I started with the World Bank. And this is where this social impact matters and everything, no one left behind. So this type of concepts became very close to my heart. And the first real project about inclusion which I started, it was when I was with the Central Bank of Azerbaijan Republic. I started with financial inclusion. So later on, I moved to the American Chamber of Commerce, and I was for inclusion of the private sector and especially small and medium enterprises into the policy making, into their full participation for the economic growth. And later on, I chaired one of the NGOs in Azerbaijan, which is dealing with children with autism and their families. And my nephew was born with autism, and now he's 20 years old. And the color of autism is blue, and I name it my blue journey. So my blue journey started when Hussein was born. And at that point, I realized probably more than ever before what does inclusion mean, because it wasn't just about Hussein, it was also about his family, it was about my sister, about her life, about her career, about the career of her husband. And I faced all the challenges the families who have the differently able children are facing in our society. And so it has been a long journey, which is still going on. And as a result, today in Azerbaijan, we established the first inclusive cafe, Kashalata, named Kashalata. Kashalata is the mixture of two words. Kashik, in Turkish, it means a spoon, and salat, which is a salad. And one of our boys with autism, he joined these two words when he got his speech back and made one word, kashalata, and he would name every single food as a kashalata. And that was his mom's dream, that one day there will be a cafe in Baku, at the very center of Baku, which will be employing these differently abled, our blue hearts. And today we have this Kashalata Cafe at the very heart of Baku, in Port Baku area. And another beauty of this project is that it's the first time, at least in my country, when we managed to bring together the public and private sector players to invest into the public good, which is run by NGO. So basically, for that wasn't just an idea, having that cafe. And basically, me and the co-founder, the mom of this boy who was the author of the word Kashalata, we didn't invest in a single dollar to this project. All was
You didn't?
We didn't.
So who invest?
So the first, we have Pasha Holding in Azerbaijan, one of the largest holdings in Azerbaijan. The first conversation was with them. So I said that I talked to their CEO and said, we need a place to start this cafe. And I said to him, you will ask me what's going to change if you will be hiring just 10 people. To me, it's not a cafe. To me, it's a message that every person in this country, regardless of their abilities, is a person, is a citizen of Azerbaijan and able and capable and shall be a part of the society, add the value, etc. So, and I got the place at the very center of Baku. It's about like 170 square meters.
Wow, it's big.
Yeah,
It's big enough.
yeah, it's big enough. And then it was like the first inspiration. And then I went to see other CEOs. So, for example, we have Azerbaijan oil country. So we have the state oil company of Azerbaijan Republic, SOCAR. So I asked SOCAR, so they helped us with the refurbishment of the place. So they made it look like a cafe. So these are the private part. And then I talked to the Minister of the Labor and Social Protection of Population, and the ministry, under their program of employment, they provided with the equipment.
The equipment,
so,
huh?
Yeah,
The full equipment.
equipment, everything. Then we have another state agency which is dealing with the small and medium enterprises. They provided us with the furniture, and then it just started. So everyone has in
Contributed.
Turkish, contributed, and now this cafe it's owned by everyone. And personally, so we have there more than 20 like sponsors, but there are four main ones whom I named the partners in mission. They are my partners in mission to make this world more inclusive. And going back to the supply chain, so we started cafe in October last year, and I'm the organizing committee of COP29. You knew this huge conference,
Yes.
and that was a extreme experience for all of us. And
It's more to climate,
yeah, it's about
environment.
climate, environment, again, sustainability, and everything. It covers a lot of things because climate really matters. And then Kasha Latte was just month old back those days. And since the very beginning, the president of the country of Azerbaijan, he made it very clear that COP29 shall be inclusive. And I said that I have an idea that Kasha Latte shall be with the COP29 to become one of the vendors of the COP29. And we reached out to the decision makers, to UN agencies and everyone. And during a month, we got a full capacity building, training, preparation. And in the history of COP, as far as I was told by the UN agency, Kasha Latte Cafe was the only inclusive cafe which provided services in the blue zone. Blue zone is the VIP zone. So we became to be part of that supply chain. And now in my capacity of the lead of women economic empowerment with Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development, so basically we're covering 57 Islamic countries. And this is one of our main goals, to make sure that woman economic participation is secured at all the levels. So basically we represent the private sector. While there are too many initiatives by the UN agencies like World Bank, UN itself, or International Trade Center, which are trying to help women to become the part of supply chains. And companies like Walmart, Coca-Cola, and others are also doing great things to make sure that women-owned businesses and others like diverse groups are the parts of supply chain. But for the private sector, what is my understanding that so for Islamic world, we don't have such an initiative. And one of the outcomes of the conference I am participating here today, the SIPS conference, was just we were discussing with the leadership of SIPS if we can think about any kind of guidelines which could potentially provide incentives for large companies to make sure that they invest and into the capacity building, into the training of women-owned businesses to become the part of the supply chain. Because research and studies prove that in the majority of the cases, why women-owned businesses drop out from supply chain because of the lack of the capacity, because they don't feel themselves prepared, equipped, and that is why they dropped out. But again, the same researchers are proven that the women-owned businesses are bringing innovation. They are more sustainable. Women are more committed, and they even mitigate the risks they are taking. So I believe that for the sustainability of supply chain, having women-owned businesses, it would be a great idea from many perspectives of economic stability, of job creation, and women empowerment. So that's why I believe that and again, about the 50% or even a bit more of the world population are women, and having them as a part of supply chain, and especially there are sectors. While today we're discussing a lot of startups like STEM startups, etc., but women are very much considered in the services and also in tourism or in hospitality, restaurant business, etc. So I believe that it's a great supply chain. So again, going back to Kashalata, today Kashalata is providing services like catering services to many large companies in Azerbaijan. And it serves as an example when women-owned small business employing differently abled people can be a part of supply
It is
chain.
a non-profit or profit organization?
So it is actually it's a social entrepreneur.
Social
So it's
entrepreneurship.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
social entrepreneur. So our goal is to make sure that our 10 differently people are getting their salaries. So basically, in order to have those 10 people work for Kashalata, we need 3 more social workers who spend time with them, who are teaching them, who are kind of helping them to navigate within the society. And plus we have 7 people who are also helping. It's inclusive, we can't exclude them. So for this small cafe, which is 170 square meters, we have 20 people. So it's really, from the business side, you think that it's not sustainable. So it takes a lot of efforts from ourselves to make sure that it's a sustainable business. And for that, this is where we understand that empowering those diverse groups, empowering women-owned businesses, empowering the businesses which are owned by differently abled people, by veterans or by minorities, by whomever, they need more support from the society to become part of the supply chain. And when they are there, they bring a real value.
Okay. And regarding the same, yes, it is social entrepreneurship, but it is profit or non-profit?
It is so it's in 2 ways. So it is, since it's associated with the NGO, it's non for profit. So we don't get any profit from this cafe. And frankly speaking, there is no profit yet.
Yes.
But if we get any profit, it will be directed to the, to the engagement of other differently abled
That's mean
people.
non-profit
Yeah,
organization.
it's non for profit. It's non for
Non-profit.
profit.
It's
Yeah.
non-profit. Since you are having any money, you will invest it again in
Yeah.
the same
So
resource.
we have NGO, which is non for profit, and we have this cafe, which is it's a normal enterprise.
Okay.
But the commitment is that whatever we gain from here, we invest into the NGO, and we make sure that, for example, at our NGO, we support about 30-40% of the young people who are there. They are not able to pay for these services because autism education is one of the most expensive in the world, because it's all the time one-to-one. So we don't have a luxury to sit 2 people and 1 teacher. So
Okay.
it's, so basically the cafe, it's like LLG, but it's under the NGO, and wherever it's going to be earned, it's going to be invested into NGO to cover more.
If we need to simplify to the audience, the inclusion means
Yeah.
in a simple and 2-3 statement, how you could identify that?
Well, inclusion, first, no one leaves behind, for sure. Second, every life matters. And third, there is no sustainable economic growth without inclusion. So these are my messages.
Okay. And if we need just to stress more how this subject relate to supply chain in a simple way.
In a simple way, so people are different. And since people are different, businesses are also different.
Okay.
As I said, women-owned businesses, they have their own type of leadership. Differently abled people's own businesses, they have their own type of leadership. And when these different type of leaderships come together as a part of this long supply chain, they complement each other. So, and for the sustainability, we need every single chain to be there to support and to lead the another one. So supply chain, it's not just about, very smart and very, ambitious people. Supply chain, that's the name, supply chain. And as I mentioned today, I truly believe that if any large corporation is interested in a very good social project, social responsibility projects, they should invest into their supply chain. And supply chain, again, going to the back, these are chains which are led and owned by diverse groups. And here we have to make sure that for every country, they have their own diverse groups. So for example, there are countries like South Africa, they have like a black economy, empowerment of black economy, because they have these problems with the
Yes.
yeah. So for another country it can be woman-owned businesses, for another country it can be
It differ.
yeah,
It differ.
it differ in indigenous people. So every country has to specify what is diversity for them, to have the list of those diverse groups, and probably then to include and to introduce guidelines in accordance to that, to make sure that in their supply chain these diverse groups are included and measured and tracked, and then we have a sustainable supply chain.
In one area, for example, the driver of the buses, they put rules and regulation. If you just misbehave, you will not talk to them well. Will be the penalties. Could be a part of the inclusion,
uh,
because we have to take care about the society.
Of course, of course. So, for example, very soon in Azerbaijan, I am planning to start podcasts as you do about
Oh,
diverse people, because it's not just the buses. We have plenty of stories when our parents of our inclusive kids were asked by the people, "Oh, your kid is misbehaving, you should drop out from the bus," etc. So it's about inclusion in all terms, access of those differently abled people to the public services, to transport services, to the banking services, to making business, to doing business. So it's all about that. So
and how is it related somehow to your role in Chamber of
in
Commerce?
Islamic Chamber. So in
Yes.
Islamic Chamber, I were focused on the women economic empowerment, as I said.
This
Uh,
is your niche.
yeah, so
Yes.
with Islamic Chamber on my day job, we're focused on women economic empowerment. And here we have four groups of women. A group is the woman, a very wealthy woman who have money, but in some cases they don't know how to invest, how to run family businesses, how to network, how to invest, and how to inspire. For them, we will be having the different programs. The second group are women on board. So there are countries like better developed, well-developed countries which have C-level women but still lack women on board. So for them, we have different programs, how we can bring them and how we can lift up them. The third group are the women, the countries where we still lack C-level women. So for them, the projects will be totally different. And the rest, the four group, is there's a micro entrepreneurship and the things which we are just discussing. And for us, we are trying to build a mechanism which we name lift, when every single level of woman is lifting the another one. So very well, so one is investing into the next and she inspires them. The next level is kind of financing and fostering the next level. So it's kind of like a vehicle which will be lifting up each other. So of course, we will be focusing a lot on the policy. How do we make sure that we have more women better educated, more employed, and what kind of changes we need to do into the policies? This is the main part. We are working on the baseline reports to understand where do we stand and what against to measure ourselves in 2 or 3 years from now, inshallah. So we will be producing annual reports on the level of the woman. Where do we stand, as I said, where do we go, and what are our goals? Of course, networking is very important because we realize that while there are small networks there and there, we don't have, we lack the common network of Muslim women to inspire each other, mentorships. But to me, it's mentorship and scholarships. So I believe that we have to combine them. One thing is, when the girl is smart, let's say from one of the countries, like I don't know, it can be any country, Muslim country, very smart girl. So let's take Turkey from her small town and we send her to Harvard. But we have to make sure that she also has a mentorship. It's not just so I'm thinking of the mixture of the sponsorship with mentorship, that we don't just give you money and go that you go and you study, but we also provide the mentorship. When the older person from the network, she makes sure that she leads her, she explains her, she inspires her, she spends time with her. So this is the idea.
You stress more on mentioning social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
How we could describe it in a simple way to the audience?
Social entrepreneurship, it's when, to me,
Yes.
when it's my passion about the social inclusion, about my social responsibility, becomes a business. So our goal is not just to make money. Our goal is to provide opportunities from others and just, to be a light for others. So it's not just a business for money. It's when your passion comes together with your business idea.
Okay. Any, recommendation, advice to the audience? Final word?
Yeah, listen to yourself. Stay committed to your values. Believe in God. And inspire the world.
Inspire the world. This is our motto.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Inspire the world.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for your coming.
Thank you.